This is the Horse Radio Network. This is episode 231 of Horse Tip Daily, a different horse tip, a different equine topic, a different equestrian expert every day. Horse Tip Daily brings the world of equine knowledge to you one day at a time. This tip is sponsored by Kentucky Performance Products. You can find them at kppusa.com. Enjoy today's tip. Hi, Glenn the Geek back with you from Lexington, Kentucky, and you're listening to Horse Tip Daily. Well, today we have the international dressage rider, Catherine Haddad, back with us. She is a co-host over on the Dressage Radio Show, and she has her next in a series of tips for us. And she competes all the way from young training level through St. George, Pre-St. George also. And she does Grand Prix both nationally and internationally in Germany and throughout Europe. This tip is taken off of episode 58 of the Dressage Show with Chris Stafford. And if you'd like to hear the whole show, please take a listen in at dressageradio.com. And we're going to be right back with Catherine's tip right after these words from Kentucky Performance Products. Well, it's a hot one out there, and the heat wave has hit much of the United States and the rest of the world. Well, don't let dehydration and electrolyte imbalance sideline your horse. Summer Games electrolytes are formulated to replace both the electrolytes and the trace minerals that are lost when your horse sweats. Its concentrated formula allows you to easily feed the correct amount to meet your horse's changing needs. This electrolyte was developed for the equine athletes at the 1996 Olympic Games in Atlanta. We all know that it can get hot in Atlanta. For horses on the go, use Summer Games Electrolyte Plus Paste. Each dose contains a serving of Nalox equine antacid for double the protection against stress. And of course, you can find all of that at Kentucky Performance Products. They take out the confusion of choosing the right supplement, and you can find them at kppusa.com. That's kppusa.com.
Well, Catherine, I've got a couple of questions for you here. We've heard from Dawn Freiler. Dawn, I want to thank you again for writing. She had some great questions and suggestions. She wrote a few emails to me recently, and thanks again for doing that, Dawn. I'm delighted that you listened to the show and had some really good ideas, and I think a couple of questions here that really look appropriate for you, Catherine. I don't know if you want to take this. The first one that I thought, since you are on the show with Frank Steuben, and I know you're a great aficionado of Steuben's saddles, so we've got a question about saddle fitting. And Dawn's question is, you could do a show on, she suggests we do a show on properly fitting a saddle to a horse for dressage, but that's very individual, isn't it?
Yes, it is very individual, and I think it's much easier to do with a video so that you have that visual input as well. I can only give a few tips, and again, these are very general tips. But I just got a brand new saddle from Steuben, which is designed along in the way that I want my dressage saddles to be designed. It was made specifically for me and my horse. And what I do when I want to see if the saddle fits properly is I set it on the horse's back without anything underneath it. And what I would like to see is that the saddle is level. That means that the tip of the cantle is level with the pommel of the saddle, depending again on how the saddle is shaped. But what you shouldn't have the feeling of is that the saddle tips backward when it sits on the horse and then it sits lower behind than it does in the front, or that it tips forward onto the horse's shoulders. You should have a very balanced picture when you look at it that way. And if you look at the flap, the front edge of the flap, it should, generally speaking, and then again, this depends on how the saddle is made, it should be perpendicular with the ground. So at least that's true of the Steuben Tristans, the old ones that I always rode in. And when you set this saddle on your horse, if you press down on the pommel or press down on the cantle individually, pommel, cantle, there should be no rock in the saddle. It should stay really in its position and shouldn't rock back and forth. And, of course, it's extremely important that you have correct clearance at the withers, that you can get at least 2 fingers between the withers and the pommel of the saddle. More is better, and that you have enough clearance there, and that when you put the weight of the rider on the saddle, that the pommel does not interfere with the wither bone at all.
Well, thanks to Catherine and Chris for providing that tip from the Dressage Radio Show, and that was episode number 58. So you can find that over at dressageradio.com. You can hear the whole episode. If you'd like to get a hold of me, you can drop me an email at glenn@horseradionetwork.com. And also wanted to mention that don't forget about the Amazon link. If you are buying something from Amazon, you can help support the Horse Radio Network just by going to the link on our page at horsetipdaily.com. You'll see an Amazon banner on the left-hand side of the page. Just click on the Amazon banner, and that'll take you to Amazon. You can go buy whatever you want. Doesn't have to be horse stuff, can be anything. And we get a little bit of a kickback because you went through our page, and we appreciate that. Doesn't cost you any more. It's simple, it's easy, and you can help support the shows here at the Horse Radio Network. I appreciate everything. I appreciate you listening to Horse Tip Daily every day. And don't forget to check out all the great shows on the network at horseradionetwork.com. I'll be back again tomorrow with another new expert and a different horse tip. Until then, stay safe, everyone.